Well, I feel like I got my money's worth on this Sabbath.
Amen.
Hope you did too. It's always nice. You know, it's this interesting thing when we come from a lot of different areas. We're not as homogenous as maybe we once were, meaning every Adventist is an Adventist. So it's nice to come around and you're just around some like-minded individuals with equal passions and ambitions, and it fires me up. So I'm excited about that. I think we said prayer, so we'll jump right in. Tonight I want to talk to you about something remarkable. When you look back in your life, Hannah, what are some of the moments that jump out to you? Quick. There was this one time that first day of school. No, hold on, Hannah. I want to know hers. Put you on the spot, I know. All right, Nick, you're up. Think back through life. Oh, there was this one moment. I can just see it. Kelly? Flew a helicopter. So when we're asked about these moments in life, we usually have these snapshots, or sometimes there's actually a little video, and we just remember it. And if we all took the time, we could probably say, well, here's what it was like. This is the setting, this is the time, these are the emotions, this is what's going on. So moments are what make life worth living. At the end of life, we don't remember the things that didn't matter. We remember these moments. I was recently reading a book about when people visit Disney World, and it's 97 degrees in the humidity in the South Florida sun. They're standing in 6-hour lines. They get to ride Space Mountain. They pay $98 for 3 meals. They have, I told you, the 6 hours waiting in line part. So at the end of it, they do a survey at the end of that day, and they say, how would you rank your experience at Disney World? And they usually say, it was like a 6. I mean, we had the lines, but there was Space Mountain, and okay. But then weeks later, when they ask them, how was your experience at Disney World? Oh, it was like a 9. They said that as we look back, all of the lows disappear. It's the high points. Now, obviously, there are some very traumatic events where we've lost a loved one. Those are very memorable. But it's these high points in life that just stick out, these experiences. So the goal of any of our lives, any of our churches, any of our organizations and companies, whatever we're putting our hand to, this is our goal. We want people to go from awareness to advocacy, from hearing to being a herald. Or the really nice one, from earshot to evangelist. So think about it. I've heard this message, and now I got to tell you this message. Right? That's the goal. I've heard about this restaurant. You got to go to this restaurant. So that's where we want to go. I've heard about the Seventh-day Adventist. I am a Seventh-day Adventist. I got to tell you about it. Okay, so that's the goal. Now, just curious, how many evangelists are here tonight? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a whole row back there. All right, so that's a good number. Now, I actually think we're all evangelists. Amen. We are. And we're going to take it out of the church realm. Ready? Tell me your favorite company that you love engaging with. Their product, their experience is just wow. Apple. And I bet if we went around the room, we'd all have these things. Oh, it's flying Delta Airlines. Oh, it's eating Wayfair ice cream, strawberry flavor. Seriously. It's this thing. So we all can be evangelists. And to me, this is the most effective form of marketing. You want people to say, I've heard about it, but now I've experienced it, and now I got to tell you about it, right? So on the website Simply Hired, There are currently 4,235 evangelist openings. Pretty interesting. These are not religious jobs, though. Guy Kawasaki coined the term in the corporate world when he became the chief brand evangelist under Steve Jobs. Chief brand evangelist. What is an evangelist? An evangelist is a zealous advocate of something. So like, I'm an evangelist for these remarkable Brussels sprouts at this Sage vegan restaurant in Los Angeles. They were remarkable. By remarkable, I mean I went there one night. I called my wife. I said, oh my word. They have literally sliced Brussels sprouts in half. They have put them in this pan. They have put some what looks like lime and I think chili peppers, and they have braised them over the flame, and they are unbelievable. And she's obviously questioning me like, Brussels sprouts, right? But they were unbelievable. So I was a zealous advocate of Brussels sprouts that night. I went there every night that whole week. The second term, one who seeks to convert others to the Christian faith. Okay, we probably all thought of that one. Third one, someone who talks about something with enthusiasm. This Apple fanboy over here. So, if you're around me long enough, you'll know I am an evangelist for starting a business. I don't care what it is, we should do it. And we better hope we can find some managers to run it once we start it. If you talk to my wife, she has this passion for animals. If you talk to my nephew Harvey, he loves pizza. So we can all be these evangelists in our different areas, but how do we become more effective evangelists? How do we do that? Is it through more billboards? Is it through social media marketing? Radio, TV, flyers in the mail? Is it the information we're sharing or how we're sharing it? Okay, let's look at this. I'm going to try this. Kelly, you can't answer because I cheated with you earlier. I'd like to test this theory out. There's this new documentary about this news event in the 1990s, and the FBI and religious people and lots of people died. Who would like to watch that film? No takers. We got one taker. Maybe that's interesting. All right, here's the second one. I just watched a documentary recently called Waco, Madman or Messiah, about this compound in Texas where Seventh-day Adventists, Branch Davidians, and it seemed like all of America was focused on this event happening over the course of this time period, and you've got to see it. Who might be interested in seeing that one? Okay, so a little different in how. Both the same thing, just different ways in which we describe it. According to Albert Mehrabian's study on communication, it's shown that approximately 93% of our communication is nonverbal. So now here's where this gets really scary. In a world of digital communication, we've removed 93% of the communication. 93%. So this is what happens when you get that. I've been working all weekend on this report. I send it in to Nick. Nick, here's the report. This is what we needed Monday morning. And Nick writes back, thanks. Now this is what I hear from Nick. Thanks for nothing. But he used the word thanks. Or, hey, I've really put in some work tonight. I've made a delicious dinner. I think you're going to love it. Okay? Okay. I just spent 4 hours preparing dinner, and you answered with a letter? So in digital communication, I think it's very important, this is just a side note, but that we need to just go overboard, knowing that likely people are having a bad day, they're in a hurry, and rather than thanks, they need to hear, thank you so much. I hope you're having a great day. Just overboard, right? So it's not just what we're saying, it's how we're saying it. So question, is the world in desperate need of information or in how that information is shared? What does that look like? So there's a few things. We could take Matthew 24:14, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world as a witness unto all the nations, and then the end shall come. Okay? We could do that. But we could also consider, if that's true, you know what, in reality, Jesus didn't really have to come. If it was really just information, we know the Lord can speak from the sky. We've seen examples in the Bible. Information could have been delivered from the cloud to humanity. Information delivered. It could have happened after the cross. Guys, look, this is going to be difficult for you to travel around the world and all these different things. How about this? I'm going to go back to heaven, and some are going to think it's thunder, but I am going to preach to the whole world. That could have happened. And information could have been delivered. Second thing, we are told in Colossians 1:23 that the gospel was preached to all of the then known world. So many could say that was fulfilled. So what is this really about? I think it's not just information we deliver, it's how we deliver it. And it may not be that whole verse and all the intricacies we need to focus in on. Maybe it's all the world as a witness to all the nations. And for witness, you have to have been with Jesus, and then you have to personally share it with someone. So Apple, we take Apple. Apple markets this idea informationally, you should experience our product. Informationally, our public evangelism is important. Just as important as Apple saying, we've got our new thing, you got to come see it. Public evangelism has a beautiful place in the world. Get the information out. But where the rubber really hits the road is when people come in and say, do you believe this message? How does it affect your marriage? I'm just curious. I didn't hear in the 28 nights anything about marriage, but is your wife good at this? How about your kids? How about your employer? How about, and so people start to really digest, how does this work for you? Because in this world of information, we're being bombarded. Something has to make a difference. And I think it's in how we are experiencing something. Listen to this. Media Dynamics, company that tracks these things, says they released a study that showed the average American is exposed to nearly 360 promotional ads across all media platforms per day. And listen to this. Less than half are realized, and only a fraction can be recalled. So we're just being bombarded. So how do we stand out in that world? 1 Kings chapter 10 has the secrets. Let's go there. 1 Kings chapter 10. Here's the setting. Solomon has become king of Israel. They are the most powerful nation on earth. They have reached the apex. This is about 970 BC. At the age of 20, he becomes king. He has a dream. God speaks to him in his dream. Boy, things cannot get better than this. And God asks him, what do you want? Solomon says, give me wisdom. Wisdom to know how to tell between right and wrong. And God says, because you've asked for this and not something selfish, I'll give you wealth and influence too. Then a few interesting statements right quick. 1 Timothy 6 verse 10 says, it is not money, but the love of it that is the root of all evil. Okay? Proverbs tells us wealth makes many friends. Wealth, we're told it is God that gives men the ability to obtain wealth. And then listen to this one. The desire, this is Ellen White. The desire to accumulate wealth is an original affection of our nature, implanted there by our Heavenly Father for noble ends. That's Christian Service 148. So if we were really honest, deep down we all want to be rich, really rich. And Ellen White is saying, you know who gave you that desire? God, from the day you were born. To be rich so that you could bless other people. Rich to bless other people. Where it all goes crazy, and when it's rich, to bless me more. Rich to bless me more. The desire to accumulate wealth is an original affection of our nature, implanted there by our Heavenly Father for noble ends. Solomon is now known for being wise. His net worth in our terms was estimated to be around 2.2 trillion US dollars at the peak of his life, which would have been around the age of 40 years old. As we're going to see in this story, he lived by the principle we've talked about this weekend, the golden rule. When people come in contact with the kingdom of Solomon, God's people, we need to make sure they leave feeling as though they were taken care of and loved. And so it is at this time, at his apex, everything is going great, that we pick up the story in 1 Kings chapter 10. Remember that statement we read earlier? A kind, courteous Christian is the most powerful argument in favor of the gospel that can be produced. Solomon knows this, and here we go. Verse 1. When the queen of Sheba heard of the fame of Solomon concerning the name of the Lord, she came to test him with hard questions. Some versions use the word riddles. She came to Jerusalem with a very great retinue, with camels that bore spices, very much gold and precious stones. And when she came to Solomon, she spoke with him about all that was in her heart. So Solomon answered all her questions. There was nothing so difficult for the king that he could not explain it to her. And then here we go. When the queen of Sheba had seen all the wisdom of Solomon. Now, usually when we talk about wisdom, you hear wisdom. Oh, that was good information. But this is where it gets to the next level. She starts to see it. Wow, I see how wise you are. Here we go, number 1. The house that he had built. How did anyone in architecture here? No? All right. Anybody like nicely built houses? Okay, good. We're on a roll. What is it that Sheba has noticed, and it makes a remark here, that she recognizes Solomon is very wise when it says the house that he had built? What do you think? The structure? Okay. Perhaps the temple, okay? But this one's about the house. It might have been his house. Let's assume it's his house. What would she have been noticing about his house?
The purpose of it.
Purpose, okay? Anything you notice when you go to somewhere that's very well designed, or anything that jump out to you? We're like, wow, this place, yeah.
There's nothing really unnecessary.
Nothing unnecessary, okay. Okay? All right, so those are a few points. Let's go to verse 5. You walk in a place, you're like, this is amazing. Wow. No expense has been spared. This place has been engineered. I don't know how you built that arch with no load-bearing beam, but this is amazing. You start to get into the nitty-gritty. Verse 5. She's seen the wisdom of Solomon, and now she notices what next? The food. How do you recognize someone's wisdom? By the food on their table. What is it? The right kind of food. Okay? Quantity of food. There's a lot of food. The display of it. I like that. Anything else? Is that what gets your attention when you smell of food? What is it? All right. It can look good. There can be plenty of it. But man, if it doesn't taste good. So she sees this and she's like, whoa, this food. Is that our experience when people come around us? Your food is the best tasting food I've ever tasted. Next thing, what does she notice? The seating of his servants. What does that look like? By the way, I think these are all things that we should be taking right into our experience and saying when people come around us, they need to be noticing these things. Have you been to their potluck? That's the best food you'll ever taste. Ever. Ever. We might have to strategically think a little more about potluck, right? All right? But literally, Solomon doesn't withhold anything amazing from her. She's come and he's like, let's just show her the wisdom of heaven. She sees it. Wow, the house, this is amazing. The food, this food. The seating of your servants. But what does that look like? In an organization, what does it look like when you're recognizing the seating of people? What's the practical? Yeah, I heard one word. I hear organized. These people are organized and, okay? Order, okay? All right, let's keep going. The service of his waiters. What's that like? Discipline? Efficient? Have you ever been somewhere, you've eaten somewhere, or maybe it's a general experience, and you just felt like these people know what I'm thinking before I ask for it. Interesting. And what does it take to do that? We'll switch roles with our customer. We've come to our establishment, and what is it we would want here? Well, I wouldn't want to run out of water. So everyone, watch for the drinks. If you see it going down to halfway, refill it. Because that person's thinking, oh, maybe I should slow down. I want to run out of lemonade. So that's another thing. The service of his waiters. I think this is beautiful. Eldon, you'll appreciate this one. So, talking about customer experience and how do you really just make something remarkable where people experience it and they just go and tell other people. The company Ritz-Carlton, the hotel chain Ritz-Carlton, this is the amount of delegation and empowerment they give their employees, and this is pretty mind-blowing. In order to make a guest stay amazing, you are authorized, Hannah, to spend up to $2,000 without asking anyone's permission. $2,000. I joke in the church, we'd have to bring committees in to spend that kind of money, right? In 3 months from now, we're going to vote on that. But to think that these employees, they may be making $14, $15 an hour, whatever it may be, but they're authorized, make our guest days incredible. To me, that's amazing. That type of experiential thinking. Okay, here's the next one. This is interesting. What's the next one? Wow, what does that look like? That she notices. I mean, this is a queen. This is no slouch. She's a queen, but something about Solomon's people, his team, his organization, she notices how they dress. It's distinct. All right? I think that's an interesting thing. His cupbearers. What do cupbearers do? Serve drinks? Make sure it's not poison drink? Yeah, that's an important role. I think it's interesting that that's mentioned differently than servants and waiters, cupbearers. So she notices the wisdom of these. The next thing, his entryway by which he went up to the house of the Lord, there was no more spirit in her. Took her breath away. That is amazing. Then she said to the king, it was a true report which I heard in my own land about your words and your wisdom. However, I did not believe the words, and here's our application as passionate Seventh-day Adventists. I didn't believe the words until I came and saw with my own eyes. I've read about you people on the internet. I've even read some of your books. But not until I came in among you did I realize how amazing this message is. And she says it. I didn't believe it. And indeed, listen to this, the half was not told me. So he's clearly exceeded her expectations. Your wisdom and prosperity exceed the fame of which I heard. And then this is a fascinating statement. Happy are your men and happy are these your servants, who stand continually before you and hear your wisdom. And then it's so amazing to her, she turns around and just says, blessed be the Lord your God, who delighted in you, setting you on the throne of Israel. Because the Lord has loved Israel forever. Therefore he made you king to do justice and righteousness. Jump over to verse 13. Look at this. King Solomon gave the queen of Sheba all she desired, She came into the engagement looking for an experience. She got it. Whatever she asked, and then look at this, besides what Solomon had given her according to the royal generosity. So I think he just exceeded her expectations. Look, people are coming in our church doors, they're expecting something. What would we do to exceed those expectations? What does that look like? What is someone expecting when they come in? They're probably expecting, let's just go from the parking lot. When you drive into the parking lot, first time at this church, what are you expecting? Verbal welcome? Warm acceptance. Okay. Here's what I'm wondering. Where do I park? Easy place to park. Second question on some of our Adventist campuses. Which is the building you worship in? Good signage? Yeah. So it may be that the experience for a guest starts with, hey, glad you're here. You can park over there. That's where the church is at, and we're so glad you're here. Okay, now I feel, okay, these people, I like them, I'm good. Think about it, a lot of times we wait till they get up to the door and have to open it themselves. I used to joke with our church in Atlanta. I said, look, if I'm going to be a greeter, here's the one thing I'm going to give people. Where in the world today do you have the door open for you? 5-star hotels. So I said, every person, welcome, so glad you're here. And I'd shut the door. Welcome, so glad you're here. Welcome. I mean, people don't get welcomed hardly anywhere anymore. So if they've been welcomed in the parking lot, as we think through this experience we want to create for people, whether it's in our businesses, churches, etc., we've got to put ourselves into their shoes. I'm at this church for the first time. Okay, they greeted in your parking lot. I know that's where we're going. All right, good. Now we're at the doors. I think we should have greeters at the doors. Welcome, we're so glad you're here. What else do you want to know?
Sabbath school room.
Where's the Sabbath school room? What's the Sabbath school?
Bathrooms.
Where's the bathroom? Yeah. Bathroom? I know what a bathroom is. Yeah, where are the bathrooms? Okay. And then this is where it gets, what is it?
Are you thirsty?
Are you thirsty? Great question. Yeah, thank you. Actually, yeah, I'm really thirsty. We drove a long ways here. Here's another one, and this one gets a little awkward. Welcome, so glad you're here. I've been a member here for 2 years. Does anyone get that? Boy, I've gotten that many times. Here's my response. I'm so sorry. I'm not here every week. I'm not the greeter every week. And it would be wonderful if we could just welcome everyone as guests. This is where it gets a little difficult, but some people are offended with this idea of, you know what, I may not know everyone yet. Give me a little benefit of the doubt, fellow member, and let me greet the guest today. So greeting that guest, here are the bathrooms. Here's where we can offer you something to drink. Thinking through this experience, let's say they go to Sabbath school. We had fun doing this exercise last weekend at the GYC Canada event. And it was amazing to see people think through, what are the questions people are asking are probably not the ones we think they're asking. When they come from Sabbath school, we think, well, they naturally know where to go. Maybe not. Maybe it's greeting time again. Hey, hope that was fun for you. Or let's take another one. Let's take Sabbath school. And we can be honest here. We're family, right? Hi, welcome. We're so glad you're here. Do not go to that Sabbath school. And it may not be for any bad reason, but it may be down at this Sabbath school, this is the teacher. Okay, look, we're all Adventists here. We've all read 19 Spirit of Prophecy books. Turn with me to 306 of CS 492. And these people know. And I think there's a place for these individuals. I'm all in to Seventh-day Adventism. I want to know the deep things of the Spirit of Prophecy. Good, welcome. This is your class. But if a guest walks in there, they are overwhelmed. They are thinking, I don't even know what they're talking about. So we've got to think, all right, this is their first time. This is their family's first Sabbath with us. They just heard about the Sabbath on YouTube, and they're convinced, and they started Googling and said, seventh day, yep, that's the Sabbath. These are the people. Come on, honey, we're going.